Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are discussing our October fantasy series title. If you would like to see this in video format without ad breaks, you need to head on over to Patreon and sign up now. We also have fun after shows available as well as other exclusive content.
Yes.
Don't forget, you can also join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Club's app for even more bookish chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you are listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is feature co-host Casey from Hearts Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, this should be a fun convo, I think.
Oh yeah. We always have fun with this.
Yes. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook at Heartful of Ink, on Instagram at Casey_HeartfulOfInk, or my website, heartfulofink.com.
Okay, so before we begin, I would like to remind you that, as always with book chats, we talk full spoilers. Spoiler alert, You've been warned. Don't be mad. Today we are discussing The Becoming, Book 2 in the Dragonheart Legacy Trilogy, written by Nora Roberts. The audiobook is narrated by Barry Krennic. Published November 23rd, 2021 by St. Martin's Press and Macmillan Audio. 442 pages in hardcover, and the unabridged audio is 15 hours and 42 minutes. Casey, would you kindly share the synopsis?
A new epic of love and war among gods and humans from Nora Roberts, the #1 New York Times bestselling author of The Awakening. The world of magic and the world of man have long been estranged from one another, but some can walk between the two, including Breen, Sabai, and Kelly. She has just returned to Talma with her friend Marco, who's dazzled and disoriented by this realm, a place filled with dragons and fairies and mermaids, but no Wi-Fi. In Talma, Breen is not the ordinary young school teacher he knew her as. Here she is learning to embrace the powers of her true identity. Marco is welcomed kindly by her people and by Keegan, leader of the Fae. Keegan has trained Bree as a warrior, and his yearning for her has grown along with his admiration for her strength and skills. But one member of Breen's bloodline is not there to embrace her. Her grandfather, the outcast Odrin, plots to destroy Talma, and now all must unite to defeat his dark forces. There will be losses and sorrows, betrayal and bloodshed, but through it, Breen, Kelly, will take the next step on the journey to becoming what she was born to be.
Okay. So, not to nitpick, but when you listen to the audiobook, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you hear them pronouncing the city? I heard Talum.
Talum?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably Talum, and I just fucked up.
I'm like, okay, wait, am I delirious?
No.
And I just did not. Okay.
No, that was my bad. Sorry.
Because I did not read the book at all. I did not physically read it, so I didn't see how it was spelled until I
really
looked on the synopsis. Yeah. She's pulling a J.R. Ward spelling trick where it sounds one way, but
spelled a totally different way.
It's different. Okay, so book 2, high level.
I will say it's better than the first one.
Okay, that's good.
But I still hated it.
Not the hate.
I mean, annoyed.
Not the H word.
I don't hate it, but it annoys me.
Okay. That's fair.
What about you?
I thought it was fine. Again, kind of same reaction as last time. I thought it was fine. I actually thought the romance between Marco and Brian was super cute. More cute than Breen and what's his face?
Keegan,
thank you. I'm like, why are the side characters more cute than the main characters? I think my main problem is, like, again, Roberts misses with the romance part of this fantasy romance.
Yes. Which is really surprising because she's Nora Roberts, the queen of romance. And this is just, there was one time towards the end, like 70% mark, somewhere around there, where they had this conversation and Breen was like, oh, this was the most romantic conversation I've ever had in my life. And I was like, bitch, if any man spoke to me that way, I'd punch him in the face. It would be the end of the relationship.
Keegan has no feelings. He is very abrasive. And even when he calls himself opening up, he's very gruff about it. And
And it's not really opening up.
no, like when he tells her the one scene, he's kind of telling her what his plans are for the day. And he's like, oh, I'm sharing. And she's like, thanks. I'm like, okay, that wasn't very warm.
Not on either side.
No, nothing about them is like they don't have the electric pull. They don't have the chemistry. And I don't understand why Nora did not make us some chemistry with these characters.
She tried, but it just isn't working. Because there is that scene.
Where are the tries? Where's the attempts?
Towards the beginning of the story, when they first start training together again, it's her first day back, and she's with the bow and arrow, and he eventually kisses her. And then it cuts to her grandmother and his mother watching them. And they're like, oh, the chemistry between them. And I was like, no. This isn't working.
I bypass it. If you have to tell me it's chemistry that I'm seeing, I'm not going to believe you.
And I was like, at least she tried, but then never again did they really try like that. I don't know. It just... No. Are they even in love?
I don't think they are. I don't think they are. Like, she was mad. He came to her house. He stayed over. And the next morning he's leaving and he makes comments about thinking about waking her up while she's all tousled and stuff.
And she's like, do it. I want it. And I'm like, but do you? Seriously? Why?
Yeah. I'm like, you just got real. I don't know. I guess she was like, I was mad yesterday, but I'm good today.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get them. Mm-mm. And I feel like almost like if you're not going to do it right, just leave it out.
It would be better left out, but then the entire plot line for book 2 would not be able to exist because we have to have the crazy psycho ex who hates the new girlfriend, because that plot line has not died out yet and I want it to die out.
Okay, so not only did it not die out, the author doubled down.
So hard.
Yeah, she doubled down on that character and expanded the role and made her more important.
Okay, so honestly, please don't hate me, but my first thought was, thank God somebody finally hates Breen. Finally! In 2 worlds, somebody finally does not like her.
Okay.
And so I liked that part, but the rest of it was just, oh my God, why does she have to be this crazy?
And it was super predictable,
so
too.
Predictable.
Yeah, the girl went absolutely apeshit. Like, she was always selfish. The other characters have kind of pointed out she was a spoiled brat. Mm-hmm. She's always gotten what she wanted. But how do you escalate from spoiled brat to like homicide and trying to take kids out? Like, I feel like I wanted more of an explanation other than she was just hiding it.
I was hoping that like Odin or Arden, sorry.
Odin.
Not Odin. I was hoping that he was like fucking with her mind the way he kind of goes into Breen's dreams. I hoped he was doing that, but he wasn't. He didn't know who she was, didn't care about her.
That was all her. All her. She was jealous of her. She hated her. She didn't even really like Keegan.
She just wants power.
She just wanted money, jewelry, power, servants. Mm-hmm. She treated the people at the castle that worked there as servants. Mm-hmm. So she just wanted all the things. She was going to get it at any cost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do your parents not see that? How do your parents not see that you are a little psychopath?
They're like, oh, well, she was just a little vain and a little selfish, but it's totally fine. We didn't think she was a child murderer. literally getting pregnant to feed the baby to her evil demon baby daddy.
Oh my God. I mean, like, she literally told this dude, I'll have as many kids as you want, and you can just drain them all.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do this as long as I can have this and do that. And so the part where she slept with him, I was like, oh, that was awful.
That was rape. That was a rape scene. That was a graphic on-page rape scene.
So it seemed like at first she knew what she was there for, at first. And then it kind of changed really quickly into something else where it was not, and she didn't say anything because she knew she would be killed. And that is not consent. No. But it was weird because at the end, when she's walking away, she's like, oh, I can never live without that.
Because
it's very weird.
Again, I feel like he was fucking with her mind because halfway through she was like, the pain turned into pleasure and it wasn't an ice stick anymore. And so maybe he's like creating a spell through his sperm. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, there was no indication of a spell, but I did think that was really strange that something that was really bad suddenly was like, oh, it's good. So I'm not really sure.
I don't really know either, but I really hope we don't see them together again because that was
honestly,
awful.
It was kind of gross. I'm like, oh, that's awful.
It was so bad.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, why did we get this scene? I feel like, was it for the drama of it?
I think
why did we get that?
I don't know. It felt very unnecessary and very graphic. And are we supposed to feel bad for her, even though this is what she's choosing? Or are we supposed to understand her better? But I don't.
I don't understand her. And while I think that's unfortunate, like the author is saying through her characters, she chose that life. She chose it.
She did.
She willingly went there. She willingly volunteered herself for the job. She willingly, I'm saying, it was like, you can't even, I couldn't even feel for her because she chose it, because the author had her choose it. Instead of, like you said, what if she was brainwashed or what if she was that? None of those things were true. So she actually is just a bad person. Yep. And then she comes out. So we're going to shift to the end, just talking about this particular character. What's the girl's name again?
Shauna. Shanna?
Shauna. Yeah, we'll go with Shauna. We know. So at the end, there's this big, hoopla. They break through one of the snake tree. They come out, and she kills the guy that was just lusting after her for 2 books.
Supposedly in love with her, but
supposedly he was lusting after her. Really.
Since we're here at this moment, I just want to talk about how annoyed I am. So in the blurb that I just read, they're like, oh, there's going to be so many sorrows and so many people are going to die. And 2 random people who we very briefly met don't give any fucks about they died. All the important characters are totally fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit, it's a switch in, what do you call it? A
bait and switch.
Bait and switch. Yeah. There we go. It's a bait and switch.
It's just one of those things that annoy me because, like, if you're going to have battles, which all of their battles are super easy and they're always victorious and nobody really gets hurt or dies, but finally at the end we get this 30-second battle instead of a 10-second battle, and this one kid we met when she was 3, and we just danced with him for 5 seconds at the party. Oh, he's dead. And I'm supposed to be sad about that? Like, I don't know who he is.
Because that's her friend's brother, right? The girl with it's his brother, her brother. So I don't know.
But when Breen saw him, she's like, oh my God, I remember you from when I was here, when I was 2 and 3, and we had all these things, and we played all these games. And I'm like, who has that memory?
This is again what my problem was with the first book. Who is remembering all this stuff? And now her memories are expanding twice and three times over. I'm like, what? On the young side of a
Mm-hmm.
toddler,
Mm-hmm.
young, what toddler remembers that with such
I
detail?
have
Like,
vague memories from early childhood. I know some people like literally don't remember anything before they were 9 and 10. I
oh,
remember
that's
like
a
4 and
lot, but
5, but I don't remember.
3 and 2,
No.
and she's not talking vague. She's
Very
remembering with
detailed,
detail.
vivid memories of like, oh, we did this with the butterflies, and oh, we did this with the frogs. And she's 2 years old.
Oh, you used to call me this, or you used to, make fun of us for that. Like, very
Mm-hmm.
detailed. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me.
And don't say magic, because no. If she had the magic to remember all those or memories, she would remember as soon as she walked in, right?
You know what? What could have made this simply just not be an issue? Had the author just had Breen kidnapped and then taken away when she was 8 to 10 years
Mm-hmm.
old. If she was 8 to 10 years old, she would
Even
fully
6 or
remember these
7.
people.
Like, I remember
I know,
kindergarten.
but
But yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
8 to
remember
10 would have
kindergarten.
been perfect.
I mean, because the amount of details, that's all I'm saying. The amount of details the author is
Mm-hmm.
giving. I have a hard time thinking that 5-year-olds can, like,
She's 3 when she
rem-
left.
I know, but even if
Yes.
she upped it to
Yes.
5, that's still on the young end to remember sharp details like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. That's why I said 8. Just make her 8.
Mm-hmm.
At 8 years old, you're in elementary school. You're in like second or third grade or something, whatever it is. At third grade, maybe you're still young that you can the details of forgetting aren't that bad. You could forget things at
Mm-hmm.
8 years old,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're pulled out of it.
Or they could
But
have
when you go
magicked her
back
to
to
forget
it,
it.
yeah, they could have magicked her to forget it. And then when you go back, wow, I remember everything. And that would have been a simple
Mm-hmm.
fix.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. Just change the
Yep.
age.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. But every time she remembers something, I kind of do roll my eyes
Mm-hmm.
a little bit like, oh my God, really?
Yeah. You see this stranger on the road, and all of a sudden you remember from when you were 2 all of these things. And now he's dead, and I'm
Hmm.
supposed to care? I know that makes me
Right.
sound really callous, but like, why should I care that he's dead now? I don't.
No, you shouldn't.
If her gran had
Does that
actually
mean?
died, or Cedric had died, or any of these other people that we know and care about, if any of them had died, or Brian, like, I kept expecting Marco's boyfriend Brian to die because I was like, that's going to be really fucking tragic. But,
Mhm.
we won't be too upset because it's not the main character. No. Like,
I mean, even when the witch was trying to tell Breen,
mm,
oh, your grandma's dead. Keegan's dead. Everybody's dead. You should just beg for mercy and I'll take you back. I'm like, who believes this garbage? I know these characters aren't dead. Like, I
mhm,
couldn't even feel, even if the author, I feel like she might have been trying to trick
mhm.
us, but I didn't even have an inkling to
Oh,
believe that.
no,
Not even
not
a
at
little
all.
bit.
Because this witch has always lied about everything, and we know that.
Yeah.
Every time she speaks, she's lying. Like,
Yeah. And it's low
mhm,
stakes. No one is going to die. No one on the main roster is going to
mm-mm,
die. If they do, it would shock me, highly
absolutely.
shock me.
And again, like, that's kind of why I expected Brian to go, because he's kind of high on the roster, but still not quite there yet. Like, she would never kill Marco, but maybe Brian. I don't know. It's not going to happen.
No, I don't know. There's like, so between the villain, two
Mm-hmm.
villains, well, three villains technically now that Shauna's a villain,
Mm-hmm.
that they seem to have no
Yeah.
consequence. And now the girl's
Yep.
pregnant. And I guess they're going to regroup and probably figure it out at the last moment of the third book. Because this book is like the first book, like not a whole lot happens, and then all of a sudden, like it's a bunch of relationship drama, and then at the end, battle.
Yeah. Well, they kind of had that battle. It was a little before the midway part, where they were trying to break through on Samhain, but that nothing happened. Everything got figured out and solved in the nick
Yeah.
of time, and nobody died. And I feel like this story is very much written. Please don't hate me for saying this. Guys, I love Nora Roberts, but please, this feels like when somebody first writes a story when they're in like middle school, early high school, and they put themselves as the main character, and then every good thing possible happens. There's no stakes, there's no drama. They just want to live their best fantasy life, and they're writing their story as the best fantasy life. That's what this is. Because
Yeah.
there's never any consequences, nothing bad ever happens. Every single person on the face of both planets loves Breen. She'll meet a stranger on the side of the road, and the stranger will be like, "Here, come shop in my shop and take all these things for free because I love
For
you."
free, yes. And it's like even her grandmother has like this fairy
Yeah,
godmother
here, let me
effect.
make you all these
Here's a
beautiful
dress that just,
dresses.
yeah, it just appears on your bed, in your closet,
Mm-hmm.
here. There you go. It's just like,
And
it's
it's
weird.
that
It's,
Mary Sue fantastical.
yeah.
I'm writing my very first book. And this is probably why Breen's books are terrible, because they would have this same everything's good, everything's perfect. There's no
And you
stakes
know,
for anything. Even when there is a really fast battle, nobody important dies. So don't worry about it.
well, this is why it shocks me that the book is written in this way. This woman is a
Mm-hmm.
prolific writer. She is hardcore into fantasy, and she has flipped the
Mm-hmm.
script and written those very dark J.D. Robb
Yep.
books. So I'm like, how is this the same writer? How can she not get me to buy into this
I
world? I
honestly
don't
don't know.
understand.
I almost feel like somebody's taken over and written this instead of Nora Roberts, because it doesn't feel like her. It doesn't
Hmm.
feel it. I don't know. It's just,
It's
it's
Hallmark.
so Hallmark.
Yeah.
Everything is way too happy. Everything is way too perfect. And like I said at the very beginning, when Shanna was like, "Oh, I hate her," I was like, "Thank God somebody finally feels something other than pure love when meeting this
Hmm.
woman who has massive anxiety."
Hmm.
Like, nobody loves
Yeah.
strangers that much. Even if you're the chosen one, daughter of the former king, whatever, whatever, like, nobody's, not everybody in the world is going to love you.
You know, everyone should be, not everyone, a good amount of people who did not know her before should be trying to give her
Yeah.
the side eye, at least until she proves herself,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't, it does not make it as fun the way that this is written. It's definitely, so I was able to get through this pretty quickly, to be honest. I wasn't bored with it. The audiobook narrator was great. I feel like the narrator helped it a lot. And of course I listen fast, as I
Mm-hmm.
always do. I accidentally listen slow and I'm like, what the? So no, I listened fast, and I mean, I was engaged, although I was not invested.
I listened at 1.5 speed while I was building
Mhm.
furniture in my kitchen and cleaning my house. And I just kept
Mhm.
getting so annoyed with everything. And I have so many nitpicky things. Yes, there are plot holes, there are things that I wish I could change. But yeah, no, it feels like somebody who's written their first book and just like self insert, everybody loves me. I'm going to write the best books ever and have them published in New York. And, like, it's just,
So
ugh.
I think I found a plot
Okay.
hole, and I think the author tried to clean it up, but I didn't buy it. So when Shauna or Shayna or whatever, when she took the love
Mm-hmm.
potion and, tried to give it to
Mm-hmm.
Keegan, he said he was able to smell it.
Yes.
He said, her body language, and I could smell it. But in the first book, he rated Breen over the coals, like, did you give me
Mm.
a love potion? And she's like, what? So, okay, Mr. Know It All, you're so smart and you can identify a love potion. Why would you accuse Breen in book one and you know damn well she didn't give you one? Like, I feel like he was being serious in book one about that because he couldn't understand his attraction to her
Mm-hmm.
or something. So I felt at the time when I read book one, I thought he was whole ass
He kind of
serious
had that same
about.
thought again early in this book. She'd been baking pumpkin pies and her hair smelled like cinnamon. And he's like, oh, I smell cinnamon. I think you've given me another love potion again.
But she
No,
didn't.
what the fuck?
But that's why I'm like, how are you such an expert now? Oh, I knew it. No, you're an idiot.
Because he's a
You're an
man and he's a
idiot.
fucking idiot. And at least that's the most authentic thing in this book.
I'm like, he is so
He really
stupid
is.
sometimes. I don't like Keegan like that. I don't think anything about that man is sexy. Nothing. Nothing.
Maybe if
And
he
that's
was
a
a
problem for
farmer,
me.
but no.
I don't know. That's a problem. But to me, that was a plot hole. I'm like, why is he so smart and Mr. Know It All when it comes to this? But every other time he's falsely accusing Breen. If you know when there is one, then you should know when there's
Mm-hmm.
not one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was just to cause drama or to show that he's questioning his feelings for her. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it doesn't work. It doesn't flow.
No, it doesn't. So I'm like, am I tripping or what? But I'm
No.
like, for some reason that bothered me, that whole scene. I'm like, what? Now you're so
Mm-hmm.
smart? The fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
They're like, Keegan, don't drink it. He's like, I know. I'm like, what? Okay. So yeah, that's one. And then I had a random thought. Like, so I made notes in Audible this
I love
time
it.
because I'm like, I press pause and just speak a
Yes.
note. Just random thought here. So, and Keegan did kind of bring up that once things settle, that he would probably have someone try planting coffee seeds or coffee
Beans. Yeah.
plants or whatever. But I'm like, how do you not have coffee and tell him? But you have tons of tea, wine for days. I'm like, these are a bunch of
Champagne. They have
winos.
champagne.
Champagne,
And it's not
cherry
from
champagne,
France.
wine. No, I'm like, so they're creating, why can't they create coffee? I didn't get it. And I'm like, these people are constantly, incessantly drinking
Mm-hmm.
too, which it doesn't bother me, but it's so obvious. Like, have some wine. It's like wine is
Mm-hmm.
water. Does anyone drink water in this mug? Wine is
I
water.
don't think I remember anybody drinking water.
Have some wine. Have a rest. Never mind. Look, you just almost got dosed with that wine over here, but have some more wine. I'll pour it. I'm like, can you get me something else that's not wine? I almost just got dosed.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. The coffee and wine thing just.
It is a weird detail.
Don't ask me the things I was thinking about as I just heard things. I was just like, oh yeah, that's annoying, and that's annoying too. I'm gonna write it
Oh
down.
my god, are we gonna go off our list of annoyances? Because I have a long one.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of doing that because I didn't really write down anything that was spectacular because I don't think there was anything spectacular. I only wrote down the things that I caught that were unusual
Well,
or
I mean,
odd or
right from
just.
the beginning, we had that prequel like chapter that recapped everything for us. But then we had 3
Mm-hmm.
chapters from Marco's point of view that recapped everything again. And I was like, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck? Why did we have that first chapter and then all of these chapters? Not only is it redundant, but it's totally unnecessary.
It's a lot of extra
Mm-hmm.
pages, you know? It's weird. Like we don't remember what happened in book 1. Please tell us, because it was like, and the author does do a retelling in the form of like a story at the beginning, which is interesting.
And then everybody has to sit around and talk about it while they drink more wine because, you need wine to talk. And they'll be like, Marco, let's tell you all of this stuff.
Yes. Wine to talk. Wine
for breakfast. Day drinking.
Yeah.
Wine just because you're stressed and you need a big glass of wine.
You need a wine to calm down. You need a wine to have fun. You need a wine to everything. Wine. I'm like, that's why I said they're a bunch of winos. Yeah. Like, that's
a little bit of an alcoholic over there.
And I'm like I said, I'm like judgment free in that area. I like wine, but it's just overly obvious. It's just kind of like, how weird.
Again, it gives me that feeling of like a middle schooler or a freshman in high school trying to write a story and be like, well, I'm so cool. I'm going to drink wine all the time. I'm going to get in my bathtub with a bottle of wine, which, yes, that's nice, but you don't need it every single day, 3 times a day. With everybody constantly drinking.
Shoot, this book gonna make me take a drink. Shoot. Okay, you know what? It's time for a break, y'all. We're gonna take a quick commercial break by listening to those you're supporting the podcast. And don't forget to check out the book review journal available on Amazon. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. We have more complaining to do, I'm sure.
Yes.
And so since we've talked about the wine, I should have had wine for this episode, honestly, but I don't. I just have coffee.
Maybe for the next one.
I know. Maybe we should do a drinking episode next time. Maybe it'll be more fun. I don't know. But I did have another thing that kind of annoyed me, and I thought it was a plot hole at first, even though they kind of explained it later, but I kind of was like, meh. So earlier in the book, when Breen was flying around with Keegan on his dragon, when she started to feel a second heartbeat or something, do you remember that? When they were flying over the caves or whatever? I said, oh, that's your dragon, duh.
Yep.
And then they kind of just let it go. And then they came back later.
She just didn't ask, didn't forget, or didn't say. Yeah. That was very obvious and very annoying and very... Why bring it up in the first place if you're just going to forget about it for a week and then surprise her with it? And then she has to be like, oh my God, I never expected or I never knew. And I'm like, bitch, you knew. You felt that heart as one. Yes. However you described it.
And this is where the plot hole comes to me from her powers. So you remember when it was that kid's birthday, and she's telling the child about his dragon. Oh, this is going to be your dragon. This is your dragon's name. They've got some growing to do, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know about your own fucking dragon? How?
Apparently not.
How?
Plot holes. Ignorance. Just skipping right over the details.
I'd be dreaming about my dragon if I'm in a world where I'm like, well, your grandmother has one. You never thought to ask if you get one. You never thought to question it, or
apparently not. She felt the heartbeat, and the heartbeat became one with hers, and then they kept flying, and she's like, it doesn't matter anymore. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? Why?
And then when Keegan takes her there, she's like, oh, thank you. Like she owed him this great big thank you. I'm like, oh my God.
No. You should have gone by yourself.
Yeah. And then she instantly knows how to ride a dragon without a harness or a saddle or anything. She's good.
Never falls off
she's
once.
good to go.
Can hold her dog on there too.
Totally
fine.
Her dog is dragon surfing. He's good. And she's good. And yeah, just talk to the thing in your head and let's go. We're good.
And then the dragons are magically able to go through the portal into Earth and land outside the cottage and then fly from the cottage back to the portal with humans all around, but that doesn't matter.
Now, remember, the cottage is kind of far off, supposedly, right? It's kind of down this long road. But if it's a dragon, like Game of Thrones dragon, you're going to see that thing from miles and
for
miles.
fucking miles. Yeah.
How does that work? Do they have glamour? The author should say that they're glamour.
Nobody ever said. Nobody says.
Yeah.
You know, other humans are going to be around. You're not completely isolated.
All she had to do was have Keegan explain that the magic glamours them when they cross over, and it would have been addressed. But the author didn't even address it. So we just got, and I thought that, I'm like, so wait, y'all going back to the regular world with these dragons?
And I don't really understand how, because I thought you had to climb over the tree. But maybe you could just fly over the tree?
It seems like there was a tear or something, like in this. I'm thinking the tree is if you're on the ground and there's a spot if you're in the air. But we didn't know that before. It just got made up and put there. I don't know. I thought that was weird. And then she's like crying. She's so happy she has a dragon. And I'm like, I guess.
Okay. I have a question for you. Because I was listening at 1.5 speed. But like at least half the time she was speaking from Breen's voice, it sounded like she was on the verge of tears and about to like burst out crying. Nobody else really sounded like that, so I wasn't sure if I was just, she always sounds like she's on the verge of tears, or if I was listening too fast.
Well, I was listening at 1.7, so I just felt like, to me, at specific time, she sounded like she was about to cry. Like the dragon scene, she sounded like she was about to cry.
Yes, she definitely sounded it there. There are a few spots all over where all of a sudden I'm like, do I need to hug you through the phone? Like, are you okay?
Look, she needs a glass of wine.
You sound like you're about to cry.
Sit down, girl. Drink this wine. Stop crying. Drink this wine.
Stop crying. Just drink some wine. You'll be fine. Can we talk about what a fucking hypocrite she is, too?
Okay. Share what you mean.
So Breen has always been told she's not good enough. She needs to sit down. She needs to stay put. And anytime Keegan tells her to stay put, she gets so mad at him. But then every single fucking time Marco's like, hey, I'm going to come with you. She's like, no, you sit your ass down and stay, boy. And I'm just like.
Seems though at the end she's going to let that go. Seems like she's going to stop doing that at the end.
I fucking hope so. Because she was such a bitch to him at the very end of this book. I mean, like, no. You can't go anywhere. You have to stay.
Honestly, she really disrespected him, I think. And in the beginning, Keegan's character expressed that, like, why are you talking to him like that? He's your friend. You would do the same for him. Like, why are you, he kind of checked her about how she was thinking her friend ain't shit and weak as hell. And you're like, hold on, wait a minute.
And I appreciated that so much. And I was like, good, she's going to fix it. Except she didn't. She doubled down on it and treated him worse. And was like, no, you're not good enough for any of this. You have to stay.
Yeah, which is crazy because now that you know that she's in love with a fairy, a fae, and he's riding dragons and stuff, that's why I feel like now she just knows he's in this. He's in this, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was being a hypocrite though. And it's okay for her.
She was acting like her mother.
She was. She was. Like, you can't do anything. You just sit here. Hell, she even told the dog that. She told the dog to stay. And the dog's like, F what you talking about? I'm jumping on the dragon. And she like.
And then she's like, fine, you jumped on the dragon. I can't get rid of you.
I'm like, the dog is like going to protect you. And you're like, stay here. Why in the hell would you tell a guard dog to stay there? I mean,
because you're dumb.
This dog can do stuff. Okay. You
Uh-huh.
seen the dog.
He's killing goblins with his mouth.
Right. That's what I'm like. You're coming everywhere with me. You're everywhere. You're stuck to my side like glue.
Yes.
But it's stupid. It's like it's not very consistent. Again, it's really weird.
It's so weird.
It is weird. Since we brought up Marco, I do want to talk a little bit about him. I don't want to make any assumptions about Miss Roberts and who she knows and who she doesn't know. But
Yes.
I feel like Marco is such a over the top LGBTQ character who checks the boxes, and who the hell goes around saying girl all day long? Hey girl this, you my girl that. Who?
You're my best girl.
Right.
I hate that line so much.
Does that? It's so ridiculous. I should have counted how many times the word girl came up. Can you search your Kindle to see?
I'm gonna search.
I'm like, if he says girl one more time, and it's just like, okay, so you got this black gay man who loves cooking for everyone. He entertains everyone. He's singing and dancing for everyone.
I got 99 results for
He's
girl.
saying girl 99 times. He's like letting kids play in his hair.
Random kids just climb up and start pulling on his braids, and he's like, ha ha, so great, love kids.
See, again, I don't want to presume to know, but I'd like to think that people who know me would know I would not want some child playing in my hair.
No. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. That's like common courtesy, but everybody's standing around laughing like, oh, they're just kids pulling on his braids because they've never seen braids before.
And everyone act like they haven't seen braids before, because the author has these characters constantly talking about the beauty of his hair, his braids. Oh, he knows how to braid. So the author didn't even say if he braids his own hair, but it implied that he could braid, the bracelet for his boyfriend and braid this and do that. Like,
He taught Breen how to braid at some point, apparently. So
he taught her a 3-strand braid, and she was excited because she knew how to braid 3 strands of hair. I'm sorry, but this is not like any black folk I know. I'm sorry. And I give her credit for trying.
He's not like any gay people I know. No. I know a lot of gay people. I myself am bisexual. He is not like any gay person I have ever met in real life.
So she missed the mark with the gayness and with the blackness. She missed it.
He is a caricature of a gay man.
And character of a black man as well. Yeah, like all he's like the mammy, but a man. Bree, let me take care of you. Let me be your servant. Let me take all your phone calls.
Let me cook for you.
Let me chase around you and look after you like you're my damn child. Oh God.
So
I got a problem with his
character. Slang he was saying was so weird. So first of all, apparently he doesn't know spill the tea.
How the hell he doesn't?
Neither of them know spill the tea, because her grandma and her grandma's friend are like, we're going to go spill some tea. And they're like, what is this foreign slang that we've never heard of in Earth? And I'm like,
first off, what millennial or Gen Z doesn't Gen X know what spill the tea is?
Oh, yeah. No, I looked this up. At another point, he was talking about one of her dresses that her grandma made for her. And he's like, girl, your fit is so amazing. And so I had to pause it. And I searched on Urban Dictionary, and I was like, when was the first time, or when was the era where we would call outfits fits? Because it was in 2008. That slang is from 2008.
Mm-hmm.
This book was published in 2021. And then I looked up Spill the Tea. That was also from 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, what? Who is writing this? Who is editing
has
this?
Miss Roberts been out of circulation since 2008? Because
maybe
I feel like you could have updated the slang.
Yes. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, fit. No.
She could have updated it very easily and it wouldn't sound so dated. It sounds dated and
it sounds so dated. And it's weird because these books were just published.
Yeah.
But she's using slang from 2008.
And yeah, what's up with her editor not catching this stuff? Like, is your editor 80 years old? Like, how did they not catch it?
I don't know. Like, it really bothered me.
So look,
that they're using some slang, but apparently don't know spill the tea, even though it's from the same time. And
people have been saying that forever. So 2008, this is 2023. Everyone knows what that means. And how dare you say some young people don't know what that is?
Young people know spill the tea all the time. I could call my brother right now and he would know what it means.
She has some work to do cleaning up that aspect. So between Marco's character, and see, this is the thing. I am not of the school where if you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all. But I am of the school of if you don't exactly know it, get as much help as you can get.
Yes.
And it feels like someone just let her write this and they just said, okay, fine. And no one said, let me help you. Let me tweak some things. Let's
adjust it. Let's add some tension and some stakes. Let's have some actual consequences for actions. Let's fix these plot holes. Talk to gay men. Talk to black men. Figure out how they actually interact with the world.
Yeah. So also, since we're talking about her dealing with like gay characters. So last book, you said you thought that Sally should have she and her pronouns. I agree with you now. And the part that made me feel that, and I don't know if this is my ignorance, but this is what I felt when I heard this part. So the part when Sally is talking to Breen and she says, I said she says, I'm like your adopted mom or second mom. When I heard the word mom, I'm like, that's means she considers herself a she.
Yes.
And so she said, I'm like your mom. Of course I care, blah, 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 blah. And then the very next sentence, it's he. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. This does not make sense to me any longer. See, before I felt like, well, Sally could be a he if he wants. But when Sally identified herself as a mother, I felt like that changed from he to she. And the author...
Yeah.
It felt weird. I'm like, no, this seems weird.
Sally called herself mother last book too. And, you know, I'm your second family. I'm like your fairy godmother. I'm like your second mother. I'm your real mother. I want to protect you, blah, 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 blah. But always he, him. And it feels like Nora Roberts is trying to constantly remind us that Sally is a man, but also not.
Yeah, I think she messed up there too. So I don't want to say those words, like don't write about it. But like I said, I feel like you could do better. You can do better.
Yeah. There were so many little things that annoyed me. But speaking of Sally, so Sally calls towards the end of the book and says that she just hired somebody from Ireland to take over. And my first thought was, okay, so this definitely worked, or this is a person who works for the evil grandfather who's trying to finagle their way in. I don't think it was Shanna at all because she hates being a servant and now she's pregnant. And then the other witch was at the battle, so I don't think it's her. But
yeah, I think it's someone bad.
Is an evil demon sent in to hurt Breen's family.
I do, because it's like all of a sudden this person just pops up and she's like, hey, rent out your apartment to them and do this and do that. I'm like, what? And then she even mentions coming to Ireland, and Breen is like, oh no, I guess I'll figure it out.
The scene where they had to take Halloween pictures was just so weird and random.
Fake Halloween pictures to send them on.
We have to take fake Halloween pictures because we can't send real pictures. Like, no shit, you can't send real pictures.
Oh, wait. And by the way, now Breen has mastered turning clothing into other clothes and changing the color and making a cake box and decorating it. And she can just work all the magic now. She can just...
Because she's perfect at it.
Yeah, she's just, hey, I'm just going to change your outfit. I'm going to change your baseball cap into this kind of hat. And we're going to do this and do that. And I'm like, what? Now you're just great at you're just a great witch right now.
And then she has to question herself and be like, oh, I can't do part of this ceremony because what if I mess it up? And then Margot has to be like, baby girl, no, you're so perfect at magic. We love you.
Girl, you're so
not going to mess up.
Oh my God. So at first I felt like, okay, great. Marco has a guy and we can like think of him in a different way, and he's not at Breen's beck and call. But even with a man, it still manages to be all about Breen, like all the time.
Everything. His every waking moment is Breen, apparently.
I said, he the mammy. And that is, I don't say that lightly, but that's what it feels like. It feels like that character is in that capacity.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Again, we have the Mary Sue main character who is perfect and beloved by everybody. And then we have her hype man who checks the diversity boxes and he loves her and kisses her and says, I love you, baby girl, all the time. But he's super gay, so it's okay. Yeah. They kiss, and they're like, she kissed him so hard. And I'm like, are they kissing on the lips?
On the cheek, I guess?
Because that's real fucked up if it is. But they don't say where. Yeah. So they just kissed real hard.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Fight with your best friend. Your best friend doesn't have to.
Because
I hope so.
Most people don't kiss their friends on the mouth, period, no matter what sex they are. Most people don't go around doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know any friend. None of my friends kiss each other on the mouth. None of them.
I will not kiss my friends on the mouth. No, I don't want to.
That is like inappropriate to me on so many levels.
Yes.
Like, so let's just hope it's the cheek and she just doesn't specify.
I hope so.
Oh my God. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. Wow. We're at 55 minutes. Okay. Wow. That time just flew by.
Flew right by.
And I'm trying to think, maybe I should say what I liked.
Yeah, what did you like about it?
Like I said earlier, I kind of did say this already, though. Even though I had issues with some things, it still flowed. It was digestible and easy. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, things aren't perfect and there's a lot of improvements I see, but it was not something where I'm like, oh God, not this again. I can't do it. It was easy for me. I got it done in like 2 days and I didn't feel like it was difficult. So there's that. So maybe that speaks to her writing ability, that it's not boring or overly complicated. It's just easy.
Yeah.
And that's good.
That is good.
And of course, the narrator was great. I recommend audiobook over reading it.
Oh, definitely.
I'm
trying to think. I like that we have more dragons in this book.
Yes.
But I felt very let down by the dragons. Like they weren't... Since we just read Iron Flame and had all of the dragon stuff there, there was a moment where Keegan was like, yes, my dragon has made it to this dragon, and they have a writer who lives over in the south. And I was like, uh-oh, are we going to have a weird love triangle? But no, I don't think so.
The dragon stuff was kind of interesting, like learning about the dragon mating and having like all these dragon babies. And I feel like there's something more going to be there about the cave where, Keegan says you can't go. We don't go in there unless we're invited, where the baby dragons are. I think it has something to do with she maybe has seen something or has some kind of premonition about a baby dragon or something. Or it was or maybe it wasn't literal. You know what I mean? Maybe it was, I don't know. It's something, I think it's some kind of foreshadowing there with the dragon stuff and not just for information's sake. But I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know. But
that just seems so cartoonish to me. Like, hey, let me just jump on this dragon and my dog's going to run up the dragon's wing. And here we are. We're just riding a dragon. That seemed like a cartoon.
Everything is so easy and so perfect for Breen. Like, she doesn't struggle with anything. Even in the last book, when she went to Ireland and had to drive on the wrong side of the road for the first time, it was easy for her.
Yeah.
Like, everything is easy for her. And that gets annoying after a while.
Yeah, even she doesn't even know her own strength. And that's kind of crazy, too, because even in the little fight at the end when the witch was trying to convince her to come back with her, and she's like, you're a liar, blah. She gets all mad and she is trying to torture her. She admits to trying to torture this woman, basically. She's like, I should have just killed her, but I wanted her to pay.
I wanted her to suffer.
Yeah, so she basically sent this witch running, screaming.
And then she's like, but I still need help. You have to train me because I don't know what I'm doing. Look, bitch, please.
She knew what she was doing when she was throwing imaginary things at the woman, and I don't know what spikes or something got embedded in her skin. She was injured. She was screaming bloody murder. Oh my God.
Even in the epilogue, she's like, I don't know if I'm going to live or die. But
And then that stupid Shauna was like, oh, can I have her jewelry if you kill her? Like, what? Okay, girl.
Yeah.
It's the hilarity of it. It's, yeah, I feel like we know what we're going to get in the next book.
Hopefully somebody important will die, so there's some sadness.
I don't know. I'm trying to think who would be the biggest. Okay, so the biggest impact for Breen as a character would be her grandmother or Marco. Or the grandmother's boyfriend. Maybe him.
Yeah.
But that's more for the grandmother and not her.
Yeah.
Maybe one of her friends. Maybe the friend with the eagle.
Maybe.
But they wouldn't kill her because her brother just died. So.
And she just got engaged.
Yeah, she did get engaged finally. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like if more people die, it's going to be people we don't really care about like that.
Yeah. I'll be like, hey, meet this one person. You knew him when you were 3 and you were best friends then. And now he's dead. So you need to be really sad.
It's going to be like the last 50 pages of the book is going to be the battle with the granddaddy.
I feel like the last 15 pages and the battle's going to last 2 pages and then it'll be over.
I killed them both. Ha!
Yay! Happy ever we after. Win!
We'll live together here and tell them, and I'll just write every night. Oh, which, by the way, she's just writing. So, like, it's war going on, but in between, let me write.
Let me just sprinkle a little mystery, sprinkle a little romance, have some danger, but some joy, and everything just is perfect, and my book is perfect. The end.
Like, this woman just tried to stab me in the back, but let me write some pages before bed. The hilarity. I'm like, okay. I guess.
Sure.
All right. Let's rate the Becoming. Would you like to go first?
I don't know what to rate it. If I'm nice, I would give it 3 stars, but I'm not feeling very nice right now. I might go with the 2-star rating just because it annoys me more than anything.
Okay. So that's what you gave The Awakening to, right?
Yeah, 2 stars.
Okay. So,
but overall, it was a little bit better than the first book because there was more action and there was a little more struggle, and there was somebody who finally hated Breen. So, it's better than the first one, but still so annoying. So I'm going to go with 2 stars with the little caveat that it's better than book 1.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to double down on my rating from last time. It's a 3 again. It's okay. It's still not something I would recommend because I've read a lot better by Nora Roberts. This is definitely one of the worst thing I've ever read from her. And yes, it's not god awful where I can't stand to read it. So it's better than that. It's entertaining enough. It's engaging enough, but it's also disappointing. So I still I would give it 2.5 if I could, but we don't do half. So I'll just be generous and roll it up to a 3, but it's still not on my recommendation. So if you see this on Goodreads as a 3, don't think I'm saying read it, because I'm not. I'm not saying that, but it is what it is. All right. Anything else, Casey?
That's all I got for right now.
Okay.
I'm sure I could find more annoyances to talk about, but I'll leave it alone.
Okay, so anyway, we'll be back next month, and we'll talk about The Choice, the conclusion of the trilogy. And of course, we'll see you in book club if you're in the book club's app. And if you're not, don't worry, we'll be right here in your feed again. And that's it. Thanks for listening to the entire episode. And please don't forget to like and subscribe before you go. We'll see you next time. Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.